Let's solve some word problems on ratios. And no, you don't have to be scared once you hear word problems. Word problems, just forget about the problems that is there and just stick to word. Word problems only mean that we are asking the question in form of words instead of in form of numbers or alphabet like we always do. So it is not that deep, okay? I am Miss Becca and these are the questions we'll be solving in this video. The first question says the ratio of x to y is 3 ratio 2 and their sum is 30. Find x and y. So let's solve. We have ratio x to y to be equal to what? 3 ratio 2, or we can say x over y equals 3 over 2. So we can express it in ratio form or in fraction form. Now the sum of x and y, that is x plus y, is 30. So if the sum is 30 and x gets ratio 3 and y gets ratio 2, don't forget that in ratios we always simplify. So 3 ratio 2 can mean any number. 3 can represent any number, 2 can represent any number. It has been simplified. That is why we got 3 ratio 2. So to solve a question like this, the ratio of x to y is 3 ratio 2 and their sum is 30. Find x and y. So for us to know the exact number that belongs to x and the exact number that belongs to y, then we can use the alphabet k, or let's just use any alphabet. So let's k represent the number that the portion of the ratio that has been simplified, so that we will have something like this: 3 3k will be equal to x, and 2k will be equal to y. Don't forget that I said it has been simplified. That was why we had 3 ratio 2. So now whatever we multiply x by must be used to multiply y too, because when we are simplifying we divide using the same thing. So 3k, that is 3 times that number that we multiplied, that we divided x by to get 3. So 3k will be equal to x and 2k will be equal to y, and we were told that the sum is 30. That means that 3k plus 2k equals 30, and this would give 5k to be equal to 30, and that means k is equal to 5. So if k is equal to 5, then it is easy for us to find x and y. Don't forget that x is equal to 3k. That means k is equal to 6. Sorry. Do you need personalized help? Click the link in the description to message me directly. So if k is equal to 6, x will be equal to 3 times 6, and that's 18, and y is equal to 2k. Don't forget, that will be 2 times 6, and that's 12. So, and the question says we should find x and y. Therefore x is equal to 18 and y equals 12. And if you want to confirm that your answer is correct, you just divide. When you divide 18 by 6, you get 3. When you divide 12 by 6, you get 12, and the ratio says 3 ratio 2. So that is just the answer. You can see that it is very simple and easy to solve. Now let's look at this. A recipe requires flour and sugar in the ratio 3 to 2. So we have flour ratio sugar equals 3 ratio 2. What's the next thing? If 600 gram of flour is used, how much sugar is needed? So that means if 600 gram of flour will be equal to s. So we turn this into a proportion so that we have 3 over 2 to be equal to 600 grams over s. then we cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, we have 3s to be equal to 600 times 2, that's 1 2. And when we divide both sides by 3, s will be equal to 4. So that means, what does the question says? How much sugar is needed? So once you get something like this, then you say therefore 400 gram of sugar is needed for 600 grams of flour. And that's it. You see that word problem is not difficult at all. So the last one says the income of A, B, and C. Now, this is going to be a little bit different. So let's take it step by step. The income of A, B, and C are in the ratio 5:4:3. So let's write the ratios down. We have A ratio B ratio C to be equal to 5:4 and then ratio 3. Good. Then if their total income is $96,000, so their total income, that is if add the income of A plus the income of B. First, let's find their total ratio. Their total ratio will be 5 plus 4, 9 plus 2. Their total ratio is 2. And then their total income is $96,000. Let's put that down. Then the next statement says if their total income is $96,000 and they save in the ratio 3:2:1. So this is for their income, and for their savings we have A ratio B ratio C to be equal to 3:2:1, and their total ratio would be 6. Let's continue. Find, so in word problem, you can see what I am doing. Just one, when you read the first statement, jot down, interpret it. Read the second statement, interpret it. If you read all, you can read all at once, digest it before you start interpreting, but make sure you interpret statement by statement so it will be easier for you to solve. So the question now says find how much each person spends if they saved $24,000 in total. So their total savings now is $24,000, and we are to find their spending. We are to find how much each person spent. We know their income, we know their savings, and what they spend, their spending will be what they spend. What they spend will be equal to their income minus their savings. So all we need to do is to find the income for each person, find the savings for each person, then we subtract for each person, and then we get the spending, because we have to find how much each person spent. Now let's find how much uh let's find the income of A. The income of A is, the ratio for the income of A is 5 and the total ratio is 12. So that means um A's income is 5/12 of the total income. So for A, now let's calculate their income. Yes, their income. We want to calculate the income for each of them now. For A's ratio is 5/12. So A's income is 5/12 of the total 96. Is it 96 or 90? 96,000. A's income is 5/12 of the total income. B's income is 4/12 of the total income, and C's income is that should be 3. Yes, 3/12, 3/12 of the total income. Now their spending is in the ratio, I think 3:2:1, 3:2:1, and the total is 24,000. So that means A's spending is 3/6 times 24,000. B's spending is 2 over 6 times 24,000, and C's spending is 1 over 6 times 24,000. I hope you're getting it. Now we'll simplify. 5 5 over 12 of 96,000 would give, you divide 96,000 by 12 and then multiply it by 5, and this would give $40,000, and this will give 32,000. This will give $32,000, and this will give $24,000. Now we already know the income for each person. If you add this now, it will give the total income, which is 96,000. And then now let's calculate their savings. When you divide 24,000 by 6 and then multiply it by 3, 24 divided by 6 would give what? That's 4, right? So when we multiply 4,000 by 3, this will give $12,000. When we multiply um 4,000 by 2, this will give $8,000, and when we multiply 4,000 by 1, this would give $4,000. So the question asks that we calculate, we find their spend their we find their, oh sorry, this is supposed to be savings, not spending. This ones here, these three that we just calculated, they are the savings, because if you read the question again, it says they save in the ratio. So these are their savings, not spendings. These are savings. Now we have to calculate their spendings. We have to calculate their spendings. So if A made $40,000 and then he saved $12,000, so his spending will be equal to his income, which is $40,000, minus his savings, which is $12,000. That means A spent how much? $28,000. So this is for A. A spent $28,000, and for B's income is $32,000. So for B, we'll be having 32,000 minus 8,000, and that would give what? $24,000. And for C, we'll be having 24,000 minus 4,000. For C, we'll be having $24,000 minus $4,000, and we will be having $20,000. So when you finish calculating, you will now say, at the end of the day, you say A spent $28,000, B spent $24,000, and C spent $20,000. And that is it. Very easy, isn't it? So that is it. So when you are solving a word problem, just read through statement by statement, translate, and then solve. So if you have any question, maybe you are confused, or you have any question that you want me to help you with, leave it in the comments, and I will surely bring the solution your way. See you in the next video. That's it for today. If you learned something new, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and drop your answers or thoughts in the comments. Remember, math gets easier the more you see it and say it. See you in the next video.